My name is Theo Jansen. I'm a kinetic sculptor. My sculptures are made of very light materials and they are powered by the wind. A part of me is an engineer who wants to map the progress of mobility. Another part is an artist who wants to sculpt the air that surrounds us and give it shape. And always I strive to push the boundaries of what we know and what seems possible to us at this moment in time. The walls between art and engineering exist only in our minds.
This morning we've talked about creativity, we've talked about engineering, we've talked about manufacturing. Ben in his presentation talked about art to mart. When I first saw this video, I saw it from an artist's emotional side. It was just cool. It was so neat. And then again, that engineering hat went on, and I looked at it a second time. And when you look at this video, it's so action-packed with many of the things that we're talking about. In the beginning, he introduces himself. As the video moves forward, there's these brief little clips of him in the design process, just a freehand sketch. And he is taking that imagination, that creativity, those ideas that he has, and spontaneously he's developing them in a sketch form. And when you know, it's a wonderful tool. It's almost a crutch for me that very often when I am talking or trying to communicate an idea or a technique, I have to have pencil and paper. And it's just a fantastic way to try to supplement what you're trying to say verbally. And then as the video progresses, you see that he's actually in the prototyping stage where he has a single component of this sculpture, this kinetic sculpture that he has put together. And he's working through the engineering of that, how the mechanics of it work, how it would function. And I can only imagine that as creative and gifted as Theo is, that the whole time, he's not thinking about that singular part, but holistically he's thinking about the entire apparatus. Because all of these parts, these components have to connect together. They have to eventually work as a unit. And then perhaps the most important part of the video, which is again very subtle, but who produced it? BMW. So there is a purpose. There is a economic development purpose. There's a profit motive. So there's not just art for art's sake, or engineering for engineering's sake, or innovation for innovation's sake. It is so that you can take this creative thought, you can develop it, but all along you're developing it in such a way that it will meaningfully contribute to the economy and to workforce development and to, in this case, advanced manufacturing. If you don't mind, I'd like to run it one more time.
My name is Theo Jansen. I'm a kinetic sculptor. My sculptures are made of very light materials and they are powered by the wind. A part of me is an engineer who wants to map the progress of mobility. Another part is an artist who wants to sculpt the air that surrounds us and give it shape. And always I strive to push the boundaries of what we know and what seems possible to us at this moment in time. The walls between art and engineering exist only in our minds.
I've heard it said many times that life is continuous learning and you always look for opportunity, and I've been growing tremendously in this recent position because I have quite a bit to learn about that. And even now, having watched this video a number of times, he also talks about lightweight materials. And when this presentation moves into what we're going to do in the Innovation Center, we have been advised very properly by the local IDA and VEDP that there's a variety of manufacturing opportunities in the region. Aviation is very strong, and polymers. Wood certainly has got a legacy here, and perhaps there's a good evidence that there's opportunity for it to rebound. And Theo again mentions lightweight materials and wind power, and so I can't help but again give a lot of emphasis on the amount of content that is actually in this video. Specifically, we have taken on a few R&D projects ourselves, and our purpose is to try to promote, to help, to actually work with small, medium, and large companies to help them in their transition through this transformative change. Technology is a double-edged sword. It's helping us quite a bit be more productive, but it is a bear to get your arms around when you are a business owner and you're trying to pay payroll by Friday, and you're trying to get product out, and you're trying to adopt change in technology and innovation, and you're trying to put that into your product. When you put that into your product, it's not as simple as that. It must go into your process as well, because the process changes with it. And then most challenging is organizationally, that you do have to have a workforce that is capable and engaged and willing to work with you on this new approach to your processes. A live example for us is that we were very fortunate that Ken Morgan Lumber offered us an opportunity to work with his company. And very briefly, Ken Morgan Lumber is I would guess that the majority of the audience knows he is a very, very successful, smart, intuitive businessman. So that alone is important to us, that we can mentor with someone like that. They're in the primary lumber business. What that means is that as a raw material, wood goes through some processes before it then becomes a material that's used in the secondary industry, where that particular material is then put into a final product. And one of their products is decking. And so they process the log through the sawmill, through the planer mill, through the dry kilns, and through those various steps, there's some quality control that is put into place, as you would expect. And there's a certain lower grade that he cannot sell for decking. Too many knots, too many defects, this sort of thing. So once again, it wasn't a planned event, but when we were asking questions and he was asking questions, we were providing answers and vice versa. He said, "Tell you what, I'd be interested in this low-grade material if you can think of an alternative use for it." And so he gave us 1,000 board feet, and we took that material, and with the help that Ben has given us as far as getting students in that creative process of design and thinking through, the students took that material and they actually designed a very, very interesting piece of furniture. And I'm tempted to tell you more about that, but I think we have lunch after I speak, so I'm going to hold back. But the point that I'm trying to make is that we have come up with a material that works extremely well. We've gotten tremendous response at customer survey, market analysis. As people come through our lab and look at it, they immediately respond again emotionally to it. They like it very much. But what we are challenged to do is to not let it end there. If we were to put that product into place at Ken Morgan Lumber, there would be process change within his company. They're not in the secondary market. There would be organizational change within his company. So under the business of art and design, or under advanced manufacturing and energy efficiencies, where we are actually helping economic development, we have to analyze all of those different, that domino effect of that. And we have to analyze what's positive and what's negative about that effect. And if for whatever reason, and there are some strong reasons that under Ken Morgan Lumber's umbrella, that was not the appropriate product, doesn't mean that there's not a spin-off opportunity in that. So now we've been talking to some smaller shops in the area that if they would like to take that under their product line and do some work with it. So hopefully that brief story introduced you to a certain degree with what we will try to do as we continue to advance our efforts in this regard. The vision, again, I'm humbled by this. There's a lot in here. Again, I'll focus on one particular asset as you read through this, modeling and simulation. We had the privilege of attending the International Manufacturing Technology Show in Chicago last week. Rolls-Royce had a booth there. Amazingly impressive presentation that they had on site. And a significant part of that presentation in their booth was modeling and simulation. Here at Riverstone in this county, we have ModSim assets, and we're working closely with the IDA to understand, and I think we do now, through networking with business and industry and looking at what they do with ModSim, to understand how at least some of the percentage of use of those assets can directly contribute to the expansion or the strengthening of existing manufacturing, expansion of manufacturing that may decide to come to this area. You've seen the format of this slide previously. Dr. Adams had one similar. This drills down a little bit further as it relates directly to the R&D, manufacturing R&D component. We almost look at ourselves as the student, not the educator. A little bit of role reversal right there. That we need to listen. We don't need to speak as much. We need to listen to what, again, small, medium, large industries feel that we could help them with. And through that, becoming that student, we will also be looking at, as we move students or interns or even our own faculty, if it ends up that way through that program, that we will help with employment needs. We'll prepare that skill set. Sometimes I actually look at the development of the R&D Center for Advanced Manufacturing as a business startup. That we are doing our own business plan, we're looking at that business plan, we're evaluating, we're making mistakes, we're making successes, and we're using that experience as a model as other companies want to adopt some of these things that we've talked about. Our experiences in doing that ourselves as part of it. Again, always hoping or planning to be part of the economic development issue. So we will have in a significant footprint of the Innovation Center multi-axis machining capability. That is integrated to computer-aided drafting and design. That is integrated into modeling and simulation. We'll have water jet technology. We're looking very closely at laser technology. And when I say we, it's arm in arm with industry. That's one of the main purposes of the trade shows, is just what is happening in this footprint of Southern Virginia within this Tobacco Commission region, who's here, who's planning on coming here, what technologies are they looking at, how do they employ those technologies from an organizational standpoint? Is it cellular manufacturing, is it not? And trying to replicate that with our own